আমি যখন আমার গ্রোথের প্রসেসে ছিলাম, যখন আই ওয়াজ গ্রোইং, আই ওয়াজ লার্নিং, আই ওয়াজ নিউ, আমি প্রচুর সাপোর্ট পেয়েছি স্টলওয়ার্সদের কাছ থেকে। আজকে সঞ্জুলা যদি আমাকে না বলতেন তুমি এসো, কে চেনেন না তো, নতুন একজনকে তুমি এসো, তুমি দেখো, উনি যে অপরচুনিটি দিয়েছিলেন আমাকে 3 মাস ওনার সাথে স্পেন্ড করার, সারাক্ষণ এক্সপ্লোর করার, এই অপরচুনিটি পেয়েছি দেখে আমি তো কিছু শিখেছি। তেমনি when I started in advertising, there were stalwart photographers যারা big time advertisers, সনদ ঘোষ, বিবেক দাস, সাত্তকী ঘোষ, they started working with me, so I got the opportunity to work with them. They gave me a chance to work with them. So definitely the support I got in my earlier days. So আমি সবসময় মনে করি যে if there is a sphere, there is a point, there's a time where I can support something in a right cause, I would do it.
Hello and welcome Aniruddha.
Thank you for calling me out here.
আমরা leisurely বাতাতে, just as the name suggests, it will be a leisurely paced conversation, tata.
Absolutely.
And that's what we'll do. So where I would like to start হচ্ছে যে you did your MBA and একটা বাঙালি পরিবারে যেটা হয় একটা কনভেনশনাল যাত্রার মধ্যে দিয়ে আমরা সবাই যাই. So what made you choose like an unconventional career, like as a maker, stylist? Tell me about that.
See, honestly speaking, Subhadip, nothing was planned. Okay, right. It's not that from my childhood I had this inclination and other thing. It was not that, but there was this element যে আমার ভেতরে কোথাও মতো জিনিসটা ছিল। কেননা স্টার্টিং পয়েন্ট যেটা আমার মনে নেই, but later on I got to know from my mother and other, when I was in like class nursery and all. So I told my teacher যে আন্টি তুমি ম্যাচ করে জামা কাপড় পরে আসো নি আজকে। তো she was taken aback, she was surprised যে একটা তখন আমার বয়স কত, হার্ডলি 3-3.5, তখন মানে ম্যাচটা was like a match, মানে not proper match also. So she asked my mother ki like what is it, are you মানে is this মানে আপনার তো দেখে কখনো মনে হয় না, মা বলছে আমার কোনো সাজগোজ সম্বন্ধে কোনো ধ্যান ধারণাই নেই, তবে আপনার ছেলে কিন্তু এটা বলেছে। So that was maybe the starting point of thing, and maybe I had an eye for it, okay, but it was nothing conscious. So কি হতো মানে slowly as I started growing up, বাড়িতে কেউ কিছু dressing up করলে বা কিছু করলে I used to always give my opinion, কেউ শুনতো না কিন্তু আমি দিয়ে যেতাম, মানে এটা ভালো লাগছে না, এটা পছন্দ না, এটা সাথে যায় না। So that went on for like years, and then school then my father got transferred to Indore, my schooling is from Indore,
right?
So ওখানে আমাদের রেগুলার কোর্সে মানে Bengal Association programs হতো, so I used to perform on stage and all, সেগুলো হতো, এবং সেখানে slowly this process it stayed with me,
right?
But I never thought like it will be my profession in coming year,
right. But সেই ইনফ্লেকশনটা হলো কি করে, মানে একটা পয়েন্ট হয় না যেখানে তুমি মনে করছো this is your calling kind of?
No, আমি কলিংটা না, সত্যি কথা বলতে গেলে আমি কোনোদিন ফিল করি না। মানে অ্যাকচুয়ালি আই ডিড মাই স্টাডিজ, তারপরে আমার পড়াশোনা, গ্রাজুয়েশন, তারপরে ডিপ্লোমা কোর্স ইন বিজনেস অ্যাডমিনিস্ট্রেশন, এসব করার পরে I also worked.
Hmm.
I worked as a executive corporate for some time, but nothing was actually working out. Working out in the sense like it's not that my performance was not good. I was always performing well even in that sector, but I was not happy kind of a thing.
Right.
So ironically, যেটা তোমার শুনলে তো খুব surprised হবে. My father suggested this to me. Ki like from childhood I've seen you. Either you are interested in all these makeup, styling, and all these things, or you are very very much inclined towards cooking. So nowadays it's not necessary you have to be in corporate, you have to be an engineer, you have to be a doctor or like a lawyer or something of that sort, because you can explore your career in different aspects. So what is your main inclination? Do you want to be a stylist makeup artist or you want to be a chef?
Right.
So then I said like, rather than being a chef, this is more I prefer.
Right.
So that's how it started.
But AJ point where you decided that you want to pursue a career, a passion, right? So did you go through a process of training or how did this whole thing happen?
See, this was way back in early 90s, right? So তখন সত্যি কথা বলতে গেলে সেরকম ভাবে institutes and all these things were not there.
Right.
আমাদের এখানে it was abroad. So that was way beyond our reach.
Right.
To go and do a course from London or something of that sort, or New York. So that was not there. So what I started doing is like I started sort of like being apprentice to people. So I started exploring.
Right.
And I started sort of like nice coffee.
Thank you. Come on.
Welcome, sir.
Who needed this?
Lovely. So
Thank you.
then from that point of time I started exploring. Then went to few people who took me as an apprentice. I worked with them. I didn't. It was not an institute. I saw them working. ওদের দেখে শেখা যেটা।
But এই যে আইডেন্টিফাইং যে এনাদের সাথে তুমি কাজ করবে, এই জার্নিটা ইজ নট ইজি।
না, তখন এখন অনেক ইজি। এখন যদি কেউ আসতে চায় প্রফেশনাল, এটা কিন্তু অনেক ইজি। তখন সেটা ছিল না। It was an unexplored market. So what happened? There was like actually initially my uncle, my mama, he was by profession he was a lawyer, but he had a lot of creative elements also. He was into magic, and then he and his friend was very famous doing hand shadowgraphy.
Oh, wonderful.
Amor Shopushachi.
Wonderful.
So Shopushachi was my mama.
Achha.
So when I expressed myself, so he said like absolutely, if you want to do it, you're all, and since your parents are there to support you, why don't you? There's always better to explore yourself.
Right.
So then he took me to this. He knew this person, Ananto Dash, a very famous
a legend
who had worked with Satyajit Ray's all films and all. So he knew him personally. So he took me to him, and then he said like, "তুমি এটা করতে চাও কেন? কিসের জন্য?" আমার ভালো লাগে। তখন বলছে যে এইটার উপরে তো আর কিছু বলার নেই, যে মানে ভালো লাগে, ঠিক আছে তুমি আমার সাথে থাকো। So then that time he was doing this Shandip Ray's first film. It was actually a script of Satyajit Ray. He was directing for the first time called Uttoron. So Uttoron's shooting এর সময় অনন্ত বলে তুমি আমার সাথে থাকো, তুমি দেখো, তুমি বোঝো, explore yourself. So I stayed with him throughout the film. In the process of filmmaking, then I met their Soumitra Kaku, and everybody to everybody around. It was very a big question mark. Why this guy from this kind of a background, my body language or my way of speaking and everything, want to pursue this as a profession. এটা তখন অনেস্টলি স্পিকিং কলকাতাতে প্র্যাকটিক্যালি সেরকমভাবে এক্সিস্ট করতো না, ফিল্ম ইন্ডাস্ট্রিতে করতো। ফিল্ম ইন্ডাস্ট্রিতে they were renowned people, legends were there, but that was like a very different genre. They had a legacy, they had a বংশ পরম্পরা, একটা প্রফেশন কে এগিয়ে নিয়ে যাওয়া, এবং that was a very different world altogether. সেখান থেকে আমার ইচ্ছেটা মেইনলি ছিল হচ্ছে কি to pursue like fashion and all these things. I was not at that point of time not very interested with films. So সেটা was a very unexplored ground. So তখন এন্টার ইউনিটে আমাকে সবাই না খুব মানে প্রশ্ন করতো, and
একটা ইউনিক একটা
মানে I was a subject of discussion. But I had a lovely time there. The unit was amazing. There were amazing stalwart people. Shomit was there. Babuda was there. Bunidi, Babuda's wife. She's such a wonderful lady. আমার মনে আছে একবার নাইট শুটিং হচ্ছে, আমি তখন তো ভ্যান ট্যান নেই, ওই টিপিক্যাল একটা ম্যাটাডোরের মধ্যে ইকুইপমেন্টস যেত, আমি ভ্যানে গিয়ে ঘুমিয়ে পড়েছি নাইট শুটিং এ। সো বুনিদি কেম এন্ড সে কি তুমি ঘুমিয়ে পড়ছো কেন, তোমায় খেতে হবে। শি woke me up and almost fed me. So that was very, it was like a big picnic for me around. We were shooting in Bolpur and all, so it was fun. So and then সমুদ্র কাকু কিন্তু আমার সাথে আলাপ হলো, উনি বললেন যে তুমি এটা করতে চাও, তুমি বিজ্ঞাপনে কাজ করতে চাও, তুমি এগুলো তোমার পছন্দ, সো তুমি কিছু করছো না। কাকু এই মুহূর্তে তো কিছু করছি না। তখন বলে একটা কাজ করো না, তুমি যখন মেকআপের শিখতে চাও, বিজ্ঞাপন করতে চাও, হ্যান্ড করতে, তুমি তোমার নানা রকম অ্যাসপেক্টস এক্সপ্লোর করা উচিত। কাকু তখন একটা নাটক করতেন রেগুলারলি তখন থিয়েটারে, দর্পণের শরৎ শশী বলে। সো উনি বললেন তুমি একটা কাজ করো, তুমি তো কিছু করছো না, ইউ আর ফ্রি, সো why don't you come and spend time over there in the theater. তুমি বৃহস্পতি সিঙ্গল শো, শনি রোববার ডাবল শো, তুমি আসো, তুমি আমার কাছে থাকবে, তুমি থিয়েটারে মেকআপ দেখো, কোনোদিন তুমি একটা বিজ্ঞাপন করতে গেলে তোমাকে এই ধরনের মেকআপ করতে হতে পারে, you explore. So আমি almost by 2 months I used to be regularly going to Toppan Theatre, sitting in Shomchu Kaku's room, discussing a hell lot of things with him, and to me it was like a big exploration. A person like him talking to you on a regular basis and narrating stories and all these things, it was a wonderful experience. Then after that I went to another stalwart, Pandari Jukar, who is a godfather of makeup in Bollywood industry. Through my dad's connection, somehow got hold of him, and my dad went and told him my son want to. मुझे क्यों करना चाहता है? Same question. So I had made an album in between, where my cousin, I created some looks for her. So somehow daddy, father was carrying that thing, Baba was carrying that thing. He showed me. उसने खुद ने किया एल्बम देख के, he said, उन्होंने खुद ने किया, इसको तो कुछ सिखाना ही पड़ेगा, इसके अंदर हुनर है। So then okay, उसको आने के लिए बोलिए। So then I went to Bombay. At that point of time, Dada was working on Dilwale Dulhania. So I had to go with him to sets and explore his kind of makeup, what he was doing on the sets. The Dilwale shooting was on. So he was doing makeup for Kajol, for Dezilal and all these stalwart people. And the funny incident happened. At that point of time, I used to wear like a denim and a t-shirt, and I used to carry a sling bag. So everybody thought, okay, this is a journalist on a set. And on that particular set, journalists were not allowed. So everybody raised the question, why a journalist is hanging around? So Pandit Dada said, like, सुनो यार, तुम्हें अपना झोला उठा के घूमो, उसको लेके मत घूमो, लोग तुमको जर्नलिस्ट समझ रहे हैं, और यहाँ पे जर्नलिस्ट अलाउड नहीं है सेट पे। So then it was a fun thing. Then I spent some time with him, and that's how it's my learning happened.
It's like one thing যেটা মানে খুব ভালো লাগছে শুনে তোমার সাথে কথা বলে, যে তুমি একটা বড় সাপোর্ট, একটা ইন্সপিরেশন বাড়ি থেকে পেয়েছিলে।
Of course,
এটা নরমালি সবসময় হয় না, মানে
at that time তো হয়
না, মানে we grew up pretty much the same.
আর আমাদের বাড়ি সত্যি কথা বলতে আমাদের বাড়ি কোনো ভাবে কোনো দিক থেকে কোনো আর্টিস্টিক এন্ডেভিয়ার তাদের নেই, তারা সব ভীষণ regular professional lokjon. My
Academically
my
influenced.
grandfather was district judge. My father was in marketing. My uncles were engineer and these kind of things. My mamas are lawyers, complete lawyer family. My dadu was a lawyer. My baba. So no, only one mama of mine had this artistic factor in mind. And another thing I generally don't tell, but I don't have my mind telling it. I somehow, my father used to believe in astrology. People might think it's weird, but in our family there's a belief in astrology.
Right.
It's not that we blindly follow them. Every day morning I'm not opening up পাঁচ দেখে বসছি না আজকে কখন কি তিথি নক্ষত্র আছে. No, but there's a general belief.
Right.
So when I was going, before this entire thing happened, when I was just passed out of my college and I was working, not happening. So my father happened to meet this gentleman who was the uncle of my father's friend. He's infused into astrology.
Right.
He used to work in Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He was there, but his hobby was that.
Right.
So somehow my father consulted and he actually told my dad कि देखिए आप लोग वो जो पढ़ाई किया है, जिस तरह से उसने अपने आप को अभी तक तैयार किया है, इसमें उसका कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. In a very specific word he said, what I see in him, he is going to make people feel and look beautiful.
What profound words.
And you believe it or not, my dad somehow, and since I had this inclination, he never knew that I had this inclination, the person who told. My dad did 2 + 2 and then he actually came up and said like, okay, he had a belief. So that actually was the push.
No, but what a wonderful feeling that when you get that support, that inspiration inside, from your home. মানে এর থেকে বড় কিছু হয় না. মানে অনেকেই অনেক কিছু করার হয়তো ট্যালেন্ট আছে, ইচ্ছে আছে, কিন্তু they are suffering in a dual life.
Yeah.
Okay, there are so many talents.
It's
a wonderful thing. I mean, when I really, it's such a wonderful feeling for me to hear that. I remember, when I was doing my engineering final year, I used to go for every exam thinking, "Ji kono byapar na, ami to editing korbo FTI তে." Because by that time, the bug of creativity bit me, and then I applied in 1996 in FTI. It was a lockout. And
actually, during my learning process, I even went to FTI.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay, I met this Mohan Kumar, who was the head of the makeup department over there in FTI.
Right.
Unfortunately, when I was exploring, FTI didn't have any makeup course.
Right.
Makeup was a part of the acting course.
Acha.
Yeah. He said like those who come for acting courses, they are given lessons about makeup.
Right.
I said, listen, acting is not there in me, or rather, I don't want to. I don't have it in me, or
right.
I never thought of being an actor. There were other courses like definitely editing, design, sound designing, and all that filmmaking, but there was no specific course in FTI for makeup.
Correct.
So I went this. I still remember this gentleman, Mohan Kumar.
Right.
He said, like, no, there is no such course.
Right. You actually went there and spoke to him?
Yeah. I went to Pune and met him because one of my father's friends used to stay in Pune. This Marathi gentleman. So he somehow he had a connection.
Right.
So he said, "आ जाओ मिल लेते हैं." So then I went and met him. I went to FTI, but it didn't happen.
Right. So for me, I had applied, and at the same time, I got a corporate job in one of the Big Four. And both the FTI draft came back because it was a lockout, and the corporate appointment letter came in.
So you chose to do that?
My father is no, I didn't choose. To be honest, at that point, I had no clue. There was a passion, there was a call. I did fairly well in my corporate life. But is that something which is my passion? Never. There was always I was on the fence. But at that time, what happened is, my father asked me what is this? So I showed me FTI and that corporate letter and said, you got this big, great offer. It's such a wonderful. And he's a chartered accountant, a bureaucrat. And I said, this is what I want to do, and this is what you want me to do. So
আমার এখানে একটা সুবিধা ছিল হচ্ছে কি what I want to do or what my father wants me to do, এটার মধ্যে কোনো ডিসক্রিপেন্সি ছিল না.
And this is a great thing, because that ওই যে একটা
কেন অনেক সেই সময় it's not that it was very easy in the sense like people around they almost created a ruckus like why I'm being thrown into this jungle without any support and a career which is so unexplored, so uncharted water.
Right.
So my father said, listen, what happened? I started working at the age of 21 because I had a family to support, I had siblings to support.
Right.
So I never got the chance or the way to explore myself what I want to do. Because it was a very family pressure.
Beautiful.
But now I am in a position I can let my son do what he wants to do.
Profound. So powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful. And I think this is what I think a lot of our viewers, audience would relate to it. Some would make a quiet pause and retrospect, especially
But
for
he was very specific. I didn't get that opportunity. I had to start working since the age of 21 to support my family, my siblings, around big family. So, but I've only one son, only one child rather, and I have made my life. I'm in a position where I can support my son through to explore his life.
Fantastic. So this is a company called Timbersonic.
Okay.
And they're into consumer electronics.
Okay.
So I use it. It's a great earpod.
Oh,
I'm
lovely.
sure you travel a lot.
Of
So I hope
course.
you would enjoy this.
Of course. I generally আজকে নেই আমার গলায় লোকে বলে তুমি তোমার বইতেটা নেই কেন আমার সবসময় গলায় একটা এরকম ধরনের এয়ারপড ঘোরে.
Right. So I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, of course I will.
তো একটা জিনিস যেটা আমার খুব জানার ইচ্ছে তোমার থেকে যে এই যে একটা corporate life which is different kind of thinking, different environment, a structured way, and you came into another industry where it's sometimes not very structured, right? It is very chaotic.
Structured at that point of from Calcutta was a barren land.
Right.
It was not even a barren land, it was a jungle.
Right.
So when we started our profession, there were a few people. One of my friends you also know very well, through whom I got to know you, Shonchita.
Right.
She was another pioneer person who started a business at that point of time of model grooming and event management and all,
Right.
when nobody has heard about it.
Right.
So we got connected. There were other friends also who were into fashion designing and all, and we actually, I can say it very proudly, we actually created the Calcutta market.
Right.
Because তখন পুরোটাই একটা unexplored ground ছিল. There was it was a full jungle. We cleared the jungle, made it a flat land, created roads and built house around, and আমরা বসতিটাকে তৈরি করেছি practically.
So inspiring. But এগুলোর মধ্যে দেখো একটা life of an entrepreneur বলো বা a solopreneur বলো, কখনো ভয় লেগেছিল? Is there anything that scared you?
No, কেন honestly speaking, till I started till you start rolling in the right way, my father was there to support me.
Right.
So he never made me feel like how much I'm earning, what I'm bringing home. I didn't have to support the family.
Right.
He was there to take care of it.
Right.
So I was left to myself and do whatever you want to do.
Follow your dream.
Follow your dream, do whatever you want to do. You have got no pressure. Only one thing he said, you are getting this big opportunity. of exploring yourself, which I never got in my life. Only one thing he told me very clearly and very firmly and sternly: I'm letting you explore yourself and move into uncharted water. Don't get lost. Don't get lost. And I want you to be focused and specific of your exploration.
Right.
It should have a direction.
Right. Wonderful guidance.
That was there. I don't want you to be lost and feel frustrated. What have I done and all these things.
Right.
So that's why those inspiration till date, honestly speaking, I don't have any regrets.
Fantastic. Very powerful. Very powerful. এবার একটু এগিয়ে আসি শুভমোহন. How did that
Oh my God.
thing happen?
That was a major funny incident. I got to know Rituda because Rituda was that point of time editor of Anandulok. And since I am very closely, I was made a household name by Shamunda, Anandabajar thing. So Anandulok also we used to do a lot of work. So Rituda became the editor, and then I started shooting for Anandulok. So I got to know him. At that point of time, there was this column, beauty column, which I used to write also there. So we started knowing each other.
Right.
And then he made this one particular ad film. Not an ad film, it's a promotional film for Anandabajar when Anandulok went with a transition from a typical film magazine, it became a film and lifestyle. I hope you remember that particular caption was all over, Ulte Dekhun Palte Geche. So that was an Anandulok transition.
Right.
So that film was made by Rituda,
Right.
a small promotional film. There, I went as a consultant. I worked there as a consultant. There were other artists and all for the look designing. There was Mithudi, there was this June and Arjun Chakraborty, and they were all there.
Right.
So, promotional film for Anandulok, there I worked with him. And then, one day I get to hear on newspaper that Shubha Muhurat is happening, Rakhi, Sharmila Tagore, they are coming and we're doing the show. And honestly speaking, I'm a die-hard fan of Sharmila Tagore. Since my childhood.
Right.
I had a picture of her, a magazine cutout framed next to my bed table since I was like maybe in class 7 or 8.
Right.
So I'm a big fan. So then one day when these announcements were there, I used to call up everybody, the journalists, দাদা রাজারা ছিল, এই তোমরা যখন শুটিং এ যাবে আমাকে প্লিজ নিয়ে যাও, আমি একবার ওনাকে দেখবো. I just met her once in an Anandulok award.
Right.
Rituda only introduced me. So that was a very fan moment.
Right.
And then it happened and I was calling everybody. कि তোমরা প্লিজ শুটিং এ গেলে আমাকে নিয়ে যেও, আমাকে প্লিজ আমি একদিন একটু ওনাকে দেখতে চাই উনি শুটিং করছেন। সো চলছে হ্যান ত্যান, তো শুনলাম যে ওনাদের লুক সেট হচ্ছে, হ্যান হচ্ছে। একদিন সকালবেলা ঘুম থেকে আমি উঠিও নি তখন, and it was a very morning person. আমিও মর্নিং পার্সন, he was even more morning than me. So 6:30 নাগাদ ফোন এসেছে, তখন তো মোবাইল নেই, ল্যান্ডলাইনে ফোন এসে ফোন ধরেছি, আমি ঘুমের পরে ফোন ধরেছি, হ্যালো এই উঠিসনি? ঋতুদা বলছি। হ্যাঁ বলো। এই শোন না, কালকে রিঙ্কুদির লুক সেট হয়েছিল, আমার কেন লুকটা পুরো ভালো লাগেনি, তুই না রিঙ্কুদির মেকআপটা কর। আমার তুই করতে পারবে, আমি যে চাইছি তুই তো করতে পারবি। My instant reaction was কেন? I was not in the right frame of mind to make.
It's such a big moment for anybody.
কেন? এই তুই ঘুম থেকে উঠিস না, এখন ঘুম থেকে সুস্থ মাথায় ফোন কর। Then I called him up again after some time. Sorry. আমি তো বুঝতেই পেরেছি তোর মাথা কাজ করছে না। শোন না, আমি লুক সেটটা করেছি, মেকআপটা না বড্ড কিরকম যেন তো মেকআপ হয়ে যাচ্ছে। The character she is playing, she's an yesteryear actor. who has a free beauty now, but that aura should be there. এই যে একটা কমপ্লেক্স ব্যাপারটা আমার মনে হয় তুই এটা পারবি হ্যান্ডেল করতে। সো আজকে বিকেলে তখন টেকনিশিয়ান 2 ছিল, টেকনিশিয়ান 2 তে চলে উনি আসবেন, ওনাকে তোর কথা বলেছি, উনি এগ্রি করেছেন, একটা লুক সেট করবো আমরা। তো লেটস সি হাউ ইট প্রসেস। তো ঘাবড়ে ঘাবড়ে গিয়ে মোটামুটি হাত কেঁপে পারলে আমার সংসার সব নিয়ে চলে গেছি, কোনো কিছু একটা মিস না করে যাই আমি। তো গিয়ে দাঁড়িয়ে আছে, উনি এলেন, তো আবার আলাপ করালো, মেকআপ রুমে গেলাম, কিন্তু মোটামুটি উনি ঢুকে বললেন ইটস লাইক এ শপ। মোটামুটি সব জিনিসই বার করে ফেলেছি মেকআপে, কোনো কিছু যাতে মিস না হয়ে যায়। তো তখন আমি বললাম যে ক্যান আই স্টার্ট? হ্যাঁ করুন, ভেরি স্ট্রং। I somehow had this thing in mind, যেটা আমার না সবসময় কাজ করে, আমি একটু ব্যাকগ্রাউন্ড স্টাডি করতে পছন্দ করি। ব্যাকগ্রাউন্ড স্টাডি করলে মানে কোথাও আমি দেখেছি একটা কাজ করতে গেলে if you give those study inputs, এটা হেল্প করে। So the person I told about Pandri Jukar, he had done a lot of makeup for her, Dag and all. He has a particular way of putting the base. I learned that from him, and when I started makeup and I started putting the base, all of a sudden she said, "From where have you learned?" I said, "Pandrinada." "You're Pandrinada student." I said, "Student bolte parbo na, I have learned, I have seen him working, I have experienced and learned from him." That's nice. He has done my makeup a couple of times. আমি আর একজনকেও অনেকদিন ধরে অবজার্ভ করেছি, উনিও আপনার সাথে অনেক কাজ করেছেন, অনন্ত কাকু, অনন্ত দাস। Then again she looked back at me and said, "Oh my God, আশা করি তোমার ট্রেনিংটা ভালোই হয়েছে." And then she was like, "No question, I did the makeup and everything." She was happy. Rituda, like, that's how it happened.
Wonderful, wonderful. Qurbat as a film was still one of my favorites. And it's not that, it was like very appropriate. Every character, the story was so unique, at that time. Even, this whole journey. I mean, one of the things that I was very surprised, when I first met with you through Shonchita, and I was doing the short film.
Yeah.
And I was talking to her. I said, "No, I mean, he has done so much big things. I'm just such a newcomer, I'm such a novice kind of a thing. Why would you?" I mean, I was so amazed, that you came into that project. You were so passionate, and then I learned first time about this character styling, which you did, and I think everybody who's seen that short film had always told me that what a look that you have for these characters. So thank you. Why do you choose to, why did you choose to work with, or why do you choose to work with, upcoming filmmakers when you are in that big league?
See, I tell you very honestly, I'll give you a very honest, I didn't know you. Shonchita told me that there's a friend of mine who is making this. আমি এরকম আমি একটু ওর সাথে কস্টিউমগুলো দেখছি, হেল্প করছি, হ্যান্ড ট্যান, so he needs somebody. So when ফার্স্ট এন্ড ফরমোস্ট থিং, একটা জিনিস সঞ্চিতা যখন বলছে যে ফ্রেন্ড অফ মাইন্ড, আমি এটাতে ইনভলভ হচ্ছি, তখন আমার কোথাও একটা জিনিস তৈরি মাথায় চলে এসছে, when she has agreed to do something, so definitely that thing has some worth. Otherwise she won't come up or she won't recommend.
Right.
And then when I met you and you gave me the narration of the storyline and everything, the way we connected at my place, we heard the story and everything, there was this very, it was so much in detail. There was this emotional story with this entire plethora of emotions, and then betrayal, and then this entire element, that somehow, that narration made me feel it's like something I would love to be a part of it, because that had that depth.
Right. Well, thank you so much. I mean,
had it been a very,
just couldn't imagine.
Honestly speaking, had it been a very frivolous something, which is, আমি এরকম অনেক narration শুনি, কিছু ন্যারেশন আমি বুঝতে পারি না এত ডিরেক্টর কেন এত এক্সাইটেড হয়ে ন্যারেশন করছে, আমি তো কিছু মাথা মুন্ডু বুঝতে পারছি না, উনি ভীষণ আবেগপ্রবণ হয়ে স্টোরি বলছেন কিন্তু স্টোরিটা আমার মনকে তো কোথাও ছুটছে না। তো তখন আমি একটু কি আর বলবো, শুনে টুনার পরে দেখছি কিন্তু দিস your story and your narration that actually connected.
Thank you. I'm so humbled, and it was such a learning experience when I was on.
And then that's why we took a very good makeup executive team also, Boom and all these people.
Fantastic.
And the detailing you wanted to go, the kind of characterization, and each character had to be given a specific look and there
has to be a why behind it.
Why and একটা বৈশিষ্ট্যতা তৈরি হচ্ছিল প্রত্যেকটা চরিত্রে।
Correct.
So that was like a fun, and then when I went to the floor also that day when we were shooting, it was very involved process.
Right.
I remember that particular shot when I don't remember the character's name. She was dressing up in front of the mirror, and then the husband comes and the first scene kind of a thing. So the entire process of the filmmaking was so involved. So I felt like no, it's good. It's good to be a part of. Because I have done earlier also. I have done student film for SRFTI.
Achha. Fantastic.
I remember a very unfortunate incident. That guy, he was from Assam. Very early stage, I was introduced to her by a friend of mine, my friend who is doing a SRFTI film. So he needs some support. Could you please there? I said okay, fine. I want to be part of the thing, and they had very good star cast. Adil was there, Nikita was there. So Bakrokti, the guy's name, first name that I forgot, Anurag or Animesh something. From Assam. So we did a 3-day in SIFTI only, we shot and all. But unfortunately, when I got to know after like 2-3 years he had some problem and passed away. Very young talent. So আমার কিন্তু ওই এনকারেজ ওইটা কিন্তু আমার মধ্যে সবসময় আছে যে if somebody is trying to do something new, কেননা আমি একটা মনে করি জানো তো যে শুভদীপ, আমি যখন আমার গ্রোথের প্রসেসে ছিলাম, যখন I was growing, I was learning, I was new, আমি প্রচুর সাপোর্ট পেয়েছি স্টলওয়ার্সদের কাছ থেকে। আজকে সঞ্জুদা যদি আমাকে না বলতেন তুমি এসো, কে চেনেন না তো, নতুন একজনকে তুমি এসো, তুমি দেখো, উনি যে অপরচুনিটি দিয়েছিলেন আমাকে 3 মাস ওনার সাথে স্পেন্ড করার, সারাক্ষণ এক্সপ্লোর করার, এই অপরচুনিটি পেয়েছি দেখে আমি তো কিছু শিখেছি। তেমনি when I started in advertising, there were stalwart photographers যারা big time advertisers, Shanok Ghosh, Vivek Das, Satyaki Ghosh. They started working with me, so I got the opportunity to work with them. They gave me a chance to work with them. So definitely, the support I got in my earlier days. So আমি সবসময় মনে করি যে if there is a sphere, there is a point, there is a time where I can support something in a right cause, for right cause, I would do it.
Thank you, and I think this is very important. This is what the core of any human being. মানুষ হিসেবে সবচেয়ে মেইন ফুয়েলটা হচ্ছে getting that inspiration from people around you.
আমি অনেক ক্ষেত্রে দেখেছি যে they didn't get any support, they had to struggle. তো সেখানে কোথাও না একটা there is a element of negativity অনেক সময় তৈরি হয়ে যায়, but আমার সেটা সত্যি কথা বলতে গেলে হয়নি, because I always got support.
It's also like as a person, your personality was something when we met for the first time. I never had that. You never had the baggage that this is your body of work, and it also helps.
I don't carry that at all. I don't feel like doing it because I feel like প্রত্যেকে নিজের কাজ করে, তো দ্যাট ইজ ওকে। ইভেন আজকে আমি অনেক সময় দেখেছি আমাদের প্রফেশনে অনেক ইয়াং মডেলস আছে, অ্যাক্টরস আছে, তাদের কাছে হয়তো একটা পার্টিকুলার ইমেজ আছে আমার, তারা যখন আমার কাছে জিজ্ঞেস করতে এসছে বলছে যে নাইস টু মিট ইউ এন্ড অল, আমি তোমাকে চিনি, তোমার ওই কাজটা আমি দেখেছি, বিকজ আই সি থিংস, আমি দেখতে থাকি। এবং আমি এটা মনে করি যে একটা যদি নতুন কেউ আসে, আমি কখনো এটা বলবো না ও তুমি কি, মানে তোমাকে আমি চিনি না, to show that I'm very on a very high note or a very some worthy person. I would rather say কি আমি তোমার কাজটা দেখেছি, I have seen your work, তুমি ওইখানে ওই ছবিটা খুব সুন্দর তুলেছিলে। I always call up people and say যে আমি ওই কাজটা দেখলাম, খুব ভালো লাগলো।
এটা খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট ক্যারেক্টারিস্টিক বা ট্রেট, মানে এটা একটা পজিটিভ এনভায়রনমেন্ট ক্রিয়েট করে।
আমার পছন্দ কেন, আমি মনে করি যে প্রত্যেকটা মানুষ কাজ করে তার দেখো, all we work for, the bottom line is money,
right,
but end of the day it is even appreciation,
right. I mean, on that note, I wanted to ask you, one thing is that you worked, Kolkata, Bombay, internationally. What do you see, the difference between a Kolkata project, of today? I'm not saying the kind of projects that you did with Stories. আজকে এবং তুমি যখন কাজটা বোম্বেতে করছো বা নয়ডায় করছো, দিল্লিতে করছো, সাউথে করছো, কি বেসিক ডিফারেন্স in terms of the preparation of the work or the professional?
দেখো, আমার কোথাও মনে হয় যে talent and other thing is very much there in কলকাতা and all, and সেরকম ট্যালেন্টেড লোক বাইরে খুব কমই আছে। এখানে ট্যালেন্টের প্রচন্ড পরিমাণেই ট্যালেন্ট ছড়িয়ে রয়েছে। হয়তো মেবি বিকজ অফ দ্য সার্টেন ইকোনমিক্স, রিজনাল মার্কেট, আ স্মলার উইন্ডো, সেই জন্য হয়তো দ্য ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল এলিমেন্ট অর দ্য লাক্সারি আর হাত ছড়িয়ে কাজ করার যে অপরচুনিটিটা, সেটা হয়তো এখানে একটু কম পাওয়া যায়। একটু হাতটা ছড়িয়ে কাজটা করবো, হাতটা ছড়িয়ে কাজটা করবো, সেটার অপরচুনিটি হয়তো একটু কম পাওয়া যায়। সেটা পেলে আরো হয়তো বেটার কাজ হতে পারে। অনেক সময় অনেক জিনিস দেখেছি একটু কম্প্রোমাইজ করতে হয় বিকজ অফ সার্টেন ইকোনমিক ডায়নামিক্স, যেটা আমি কিন্তু বম্বেতে অনেক সময় দেখেছি কাজ করতে গিয়ে যে অনেকটাই হাত ছড়ানো রয়েছে, অতটা হাত ছড়ানোর অত প্রয়োজন নেই, কিন্তু যেহেতু ওটা একটা হয়ে এসছে, তো they can experiment, they can do lot of things which is needed,
right. I mean, end of the day it's an economics, right? I mean,
yeah,
মানে অনেকে একটা প্রশ্ন করে ধরো যে is cinema art or economics or business?
It is definitely economics,
right.
I mean, economics only, আমি যেটা firmly believe করি, without economic support art cannot grow,
and we call it an industry. There is
art needs economic support.
Absolutely.
আমি এটা প্রচন্ড পরিমাণে বিলিভ করি, কি করে না করে আমি জানি না, এটা আমার পার্সোনাল বিলিভ, আর্ট নিডস ইকোনমিক সাপোর্ট।
In fact, that's the premise at MDF. আমরা যখন ব্রেনস্টর্মিং করি, আমাদের সাথে স্যারকে কথা বললেন যে I'm extremely privileged that we have two very young producers, very promising producers, I would say, in India, and they're shaping up the global market as well. Shobnak, Pratik, and our debate along with Amit is always the viability of that project, because as producers, it's not that we are putting in the money from our own pocket, but we have to raise that funding, and there is certain amount of accountability, certain amount of responsibility, that we have to give back to the investors. Okay, obviously there is a bigger message, but the viability, how do we distribute it, that's basically what we are trying to do. It's art, but I remember many years back when I was in Bombay working for a Big Four, and a whole night I used to write, and then I was narrating one day went to Film City to narrate to Mr. Mira Chopra's son.
Okay.
Ravi Chopra, the sets of Raman. And I narrated to him the story, and he said one thing, that beta jo big jai wahi aata hai. And a lot of people, when I tell this, they feel that a bit offensive, but I think
it's right.
আমার কাছে মনে ওটা রয়ে গেছে আজকে,
তো কোনো লাভ নেই না,
সেটাই, মানে
তো ওটা অন্যরকম ভাবে নিয়ে কোনো লাভ নেই। সার মর্ম যেটা হচ্ছে কি, যেটা বলেছেন ওটা একদম সঠিক।
আর তখন আমার কোনো আইডিয়া ছিল যে কোনোদিন আমি আমি এন্টারটেইনমেন্ট ইন্ডাস্ট্রিতে আসবো, প্রডিউস করবো বা একটা ছোটখাটো স্টুডিও করবো, বাট ওয়ান স্টেপ দ্যাট প্যাশন, I tried to keep it alight, ছোট অল্প অল্প করে তেল দিয়ে 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 যেখানেই ছিলাম 20-22 বছর দেশের বাইরে ওটাকে বাঁচিয়ে রাখার চেষ্টা করেছি। And we're almost towards the end of the show. What I wanted to ask you is, I mean, this is a line in one of my short films, Arko. You know, it's a question, which I have for the society, and now for you. Do you think is success happiness or happiness success?
Success leads to happiness or happiness leads to success?
Do you think that once you get success, that is happiness for you, or is once you find your happiness, whether it is
I think if you find your happiness, then you are successful.
Right. But that's so difficult, there's always a turmoil, right?
Yeah, always.
But to find that clarity.
To me, definition of success is, the definition of success is if I am at peace with me or not.
So true.
If I am not at peace with me, with myself, then I am not successful.
Well said. Very profound. Very, very, very profound. And I'll always remember that. What inspires Aniruddha?
Everything around me inspires me. Any creative aspect, even a human story, because I keep observing, I keep exploring, আমার স্টাইলিং বা এই যে জিনিসপত্রগুলো লুক ডিজাইন এগুলো রিয়েল ক্যারেক্টার দেখে 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 তাদের নুয়ান্সেস দেখে দেখে আমার most important subject to me is human. I like to read or study them. With whom I work, I study their nature, I study their nuances. Humans are a very interesting subject for me to understand and learn. And everyone's journey inspires me. There is nothing specific that inspires.
Right.
And honestly speaking, I'm not. I can jolly well tell I'm not a very focused, ambitious person. I've never been ambitious in my life. I've worked through. Things have come to me. That way I would say I'm lucky. Things came to me, and I did justice to them. And if something which didn't come to me, I never craved for it. I'm a big time believer in destiny. But that doesn't mean I won't work. I won't put my heart and soul or my dedication towards my job. I will do that. But I don't like to crib about things which I have not got. Because it's not possible for a person to be like कहीं पे ज़मीं कहीं आसमान नहीं मिलता.
Right.
So जो मिला है उसमें खुश रहो भाई.